Good evening, everyone. Are you looking forward to another health talk tonight? Well, I've got something very interesting for you, and I don't want anybody to go to sleep tonight. I welcome you all, everyone that is here. For those that are listening out in the satellite downlink areas, we also give you a very special welcome. You know, it's the fourth time that I've been here in Samoa, and every time I come back, I feel at home. You know, it's like so nice. I might very soon become a citizen of this country. Brother? No? I think you might like to do the same as well. I was studying on the table. I had a book on the table, and I was studying about the heart. And my 4-year-old little child came up to me and he said, "Dad, what's that?" And I said, "Son, this is the heart." And he said to me, he asked me a very interesting question. "Dad, how many hearts do I have?" And I said to him, "How many do you think you have?" And you know what the answer was? 5, Dad. 5 hearts. Boy, I'd be very happy if I had 5 hearts. When one conks out, you still have another 4. Eh? But it's not like that. You have only one. And it works for all your life. And so I reckon it needs some respect. It needs some care. And so I'm going to talk a little bit this evening about the heart and what affects the heart. Okay? Just some interesting facts about the heart as we begin. It has 4 chambers. That's the heart. It has 4 chambers. And the main function or the work of the heart is to pump blood throughout the whole body. That's what it does. It begins beating at about 4 weeks. All right? After conception. It beats approximately 72 times a minute, about 100,000 times a day, 3.6 million times a year, and 4.5 billion times in a 70-year-old. What do you say to that? That's amazing statistics. It weighs only 300 grams on average, about the size of my fist. And it pumps blood, about 7,500 liters of blood, through approximately 200,000 kilometers of blood vessel. You see, that's how precious you are. You are amazing. You have this heart that's sitting there. You have no control over it. It pumps on its own. There's some amazing chemical reactions that takes place in the heart that enables it to pump on its own without you controlling it. Oh, we have a wonderful God. Yeah, that's the God that we serve this evening. There's some more things about the heart that you need to know. During an average lifetime, the heart will pump nearly 5.7 million liters of blood. And it pumps blood to almost all of the body's 100 trillion cells. My brother, you are 100 trillion cells. We are 100 trillion cells. The heart does the most physical work of any muscles during a lifetime, and it does not stop until you know what happens. We only have one heart, so I reckon we should take care, good care, of the heart. I hope you agree with me tonight. Now let me tell you something else about the heart. It has only 2 small blood vessels that supplies the heart. It doesn't have too many. And they're small. And we call them the coronary arteries. When one of them gets blocked, you have some major problems. Now let's go through that process and see what happens. Come with me. What is this? This is a rusty pipe. It's been sitting out there under the elements for so long. What has happened to this pipe? It has become rusty, and you can appreciate that there's something building up inside that pipe. A very similar reaction takes place in the body. You see, it's oxygen floating in the air that reacts with the iron that brings up rust. Your body is full of oxygen, and when it reacts with fat, it causes rusting of the blood vessels. And so look at this one. It's very similar now to this one. This is an artery. This is a coronary artery that supplies the heart. That's where blood flows through. And so that the heart muscles can have oxygen, and it can have glucose, and it can have the nutrients so that it can be able to sustain life. It can be able to keep pumping so that you live. And so rusting takes place inside the heart. Now let me tell you something. This is a very complicated little slide. I'm not going to go through it, but all I want to say is this process of rusting that takes place in the arteries of the heart and many other blood vessels happens slowly. It's a slow process. It is silent in its build-up, in its destructive work, until one day, maybe you're 35, maybe 40 or 50, it strikes. That's the nature of lifestyle diseases, and especially heart attacks. And so come with me. Let me show you something now. This is going to get good. You see, I have 3 blood vessels there. All right, the first one looks very nice and clear. You can see the big white arrow. Blood is flowing very, very, very smoothly through. You appreciate that? You look at the second blood vessel. What's happening here? There's now something building up inside that is reducing the opening, the lumen of the artery. It's getting narrower, very narrow. The third artery shows that now what has happened is there is complete blockage of that artery. One day, this mountain that has developed inside the artery, think of it as a volcano. It decided to erupt, and it bursts, and there is bleeding, and then it clots. And what happens is it is the clot that does the final blockage of the artery, and a person suddenly feels pain and he drops dead. And that happens. Sometimes if the process is slower, you walk uphill, you have some pain in the chest, it is heavy, it is constricting, and it radiates to the left arm, sometimes to the neck, sometimes to the epigastrium, and sometimes people with heart attacks go to the doctor, and the doctor diagnoses them as peptic ulcer disease. They pump them with all the medicines for ulcer in the tummy, but they're suffering from a myocardial infarction. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, it's a very important thing that we need to know. And so that's what happens. Okay, come with me now, and let me show you some real coronary arteries. Look at this picture. This is an artery that has been severely narrowed. Okay, now I'm not allowed to look back, but I'm going to do that. I'm sorry. I'm just going to turn around, and I'm going to show you. See, this is an artery here. This is a coronary artery. The lumen should be from here. What has happened is there is a severe buildup of plaque. Okay? There is a severe buildup of plaque all around there. See that? This is all plaque. What is plaque? Plaque is grease, fat that has built up. And so one day, the plaque ruptures. And you can see the clot building up inside. It's building up. And by this time, this person might be feeling okay. But there's a volcano. It has already burst. And there's a clot building up. And it's building up big until what happens next is it completely blocks the opening. Bang! dead. Heart attack. In most situations, people don't survive. It's a bad story. It's an interesting development. Now, if you don't agree with me, Dr. Kuma, you're showing us some pictures here. You're saying that it gets blocked. Where does that grease come? I don't believe you. Look at this picture. Okay? This is an artery that supplies the brain. All right? It has been blocked by fats. What color does fat look like? Eh? It looks whitish, yellowish. And so that's exactly what you see there. See that? So that artery has been opened. Now you see that there is fat, and it has to be removed so that blood can flow. And so what happens is, with the doctors, we take them into the operating theater. Now this is if you have $150,000. If you have $150,000, they can do this to you. Okay? Some more. I think you're very rich, huh? Okay, so they can do this. So they remove the plug. They remove the grease. Okay, listen. Look here. Okay, now the grease has been removed. Hallelujah. But let me show you another angle of this picture. All right, look at this. They have decided that they would leave some behind. You see that? You see that? Maybe another $150,000 and you come for another one. Okay. Bless our soul, Samoa. We need to know that this happens. Okay. And so, this is what happens, dear brothers and sisters. Okay. Now, look at this slide. This is the fat that you eat every day. This is the grease. This is the cholesterol that comes especially from animal source. Okay. And that's why you've been hearing me saying plant-based diet is the best for you. Eat more food from the garden. It's the safest. It is the best. Okay, so that is all grease, as you can see there, taken out from that artery. And so, yes, it is true, arteries get blocked. That's why we have heart attacks. That's why we have strokes. I'll be talking on stroke tomorrow night. And so let's keep talking. This is very, very important. What are some risk factors for coronary artery disease or coronary heart disease or blockage of the arteries? Let's just go through this very quickly. We have very little time left. Number one. What's this? You love this? It's very sweet. I was studying in Fiji, and every time I get hungry, I go down to the street, and there's about 20, little kitchens, along the street, and they cook this thing. Boy, I sweet, very nice. The fat tastes very good. Huh? You agree? It tastes very good. But brothers and sisters, it is the source of what we call saturated fat. It is that which accumulates in the arteries of the heart and of many other places inside the body. Let's look at another one. It is important to see this. This is cholesterol. This is the grease from that you saw earlier. When you cook it, and you leave it overnight, you find this whitish, waxy-like grease. That is cholesterol. Okay? And that's what gets accumulated inside the arteries. It's so important to realize that, brothers and sisters. All we do when we wake up in the morning, we sit there, we just cover it up, we throw it in the rubbish bin, next day go buy another lamb chops. Oh, let's learn something tonight. Bless us, Lord. Let's learn something tonight. Now, what's this one? I'm not here to tell you not to eat these things. I'm just here to tell you that they can block your arteries. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Let me say this. Corned beef is full of cholesterol. Sausage is full of cholesterol. Brothers and sisters, if there's anything that I would stop you from eating, I would say, please beware of these two things. They can destroy you. These are not good. They taste nice, but later on, you can have some major problems. Now let's keep going. That's number one. Lack of physical activity. I won't talk too much about this because we all know this. It's like getting up in the morning and starting, which is the most difficult part of this little advice. But you need the Holy Spirit. You need God to help you. Wake up in the morning and say, Lord, this body is your temple. I need to go walking. That's the relationship between health and spirituality. It's so important to realize that. Come, let's look at another one. Another major risk factor. This is not my uncle. He's got a major problem here. Let's look at him inside. Oh, sorry. Okay, next time I'll show you that one. Number 3, cigarette smoking. A major risk factor for coronary artery disease and heart attacks. Because what it does, it raises the level of bad fats inside the blood. And it can kill you. Just this afternoon, I received a phone call saying Brian has passed away. He's a nurse, smoker for many years, only 40 years of age, woke up in the morning, collapsed, and was dead this morning. That's what we're talking about. It is true that cigarette smoking can destroy your life. Number 4. What is number 4? Diabetes. If you have diabetes, it is so crucial that you have it controlled properly. Make sure that you are on your medicines and make sure that your diet is healthy. Because one of the most important complications of diabetes is heart attack. Destroyed blood vessels in the body, and that can lead to heart attacks and stroke and other major problems. And so remember, diabetes is a disease of complications. And I'll be talking more on diabetes in one of the nights that is coming. And so we will move on. Number 5. What do we have here? High blood pressure. When was the last time you had your blood pressure checked? You know that blood pressure, high blood pressure is known as the silent killer. Because you can have high blood pressure and you feel okay. All right? You don't feel sick. But the damage is being done slowly. It's happening without you knowing it. So get your blood pressure checked. It is so important. I'll be talking on high blood pressure in one of the nights coming. And so number 6, alcohol. It increases fat levels in the blood, predisposing to plaque formation. I showed you plaque. You have now learned a new terminology in medicine. Plaque equals fats collection in the blood vessels. Okay. Now, alcohol increases fat levels in the blood that leads to plaque formation. It is so important that we need to understand this. If you have a family member that has passed away or has a history of heart attacks, most probably you might also have that same risk as well. So it is very important to know the history of your family. It is very crucial. It is very, very important. Age about 50 years, that age becomes a dangerous sort of period. Because by this time, you know, things have accumulated from the previous ways that we have lived. Okay? And so the chances of you developing a heart attack about 50 is very high. And so it's so important, young people, that you look after yourself now so that you can have a good long life going into the future. So crucial, so important. Number 9, the male gender. Ladies, you may be smiling. It's your problem, the males. Okay, if you're a male, we have an increased risk of developing a heart attack compared to the females. But females, look at the next slide. You're not off the hook. All right, come with me. Come with me. Heart disease. Are women at risk? The answer is yes. Listen to this one. Heart disease is a bigger threat to women's health than what? Breast cancer. Did you know that? Let me show you something else. Myth. This is the lie that a lot of women might think, might say to themselves. Myth. Heart disease is a men's disease. Look at the truth, the fact. Heart disease is the number one killer in women in the world. Listen to this myth. If I have never had a chest pain, this is a lady saying, I cannot have heart disease. Fact, heart disease may develop over time with what? No symptoms. Until it strikes. Oh, this is important. Myth. As a woman, I am more likely to get breast cancer than heart disease. Truth. About 1 in 7 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. 1 out of every 2 women will die of heart disease or heart attack. So you have 7 ladies, 1 out of them will have breast cancer. You have 2 ladies, 1 out of the 2 will die of heart disease. And so it is, yes, a major problem in the females as well. And so it's so important that we know and we understand this. I'd just like to mention this before I come to my conclusion. Childhood obesity is becoming a major problem, not only in the developed world, but also in developing countries as well. The predisposing factors of heart disease, they are laid very on in childhood, very on in life. And so parents, we have a big responsibility to ensure that our children are fed the right kinds of food. Do you give them money so that they buy biscuits and lolly water and that sort of thing during their break? Or do you prepare fruits for them or some good healthy lunch for them to have during lunch and during breaks? This is very important. These are important considerations that we need to be thinking about every time we send our children to school. So important. Now, just very quickly, how can we prevent? It's going to be opposite to all the things that I've said to you. So we're going to just go very fast here. How to prevent coronary heart disease or heart attacks. Number 1, just very quickly now, fruits and vegetables. Go to the garden. Eat the local foods. You have plenty here in Samoa. Eat more of that. Less of the sugary foods. Less of the fatty foods. And less of the salty foods. Because these give rise to the problems not only of heart disease, but of all the other lifestyle diseases. You know this. I'm just reminding you. This is so important for us to think about. Fruits and vegetables. Get back to the original diet of the Samoan people. That is the best. That is the safest for each one of us. And I pray that we will do that. Do some regular physical activity. I was here in May. I was 91 kilograms. I've come back here today. I have lost 15 kilograms. Because I decided that I want to live longer. And brothers and sisters, if I can do this, you can do it as well. And you know how I did it? I basically cut down the amount of food I ate. I went back to the plant foods, and I did a lot of walking, just walking every day. And if I can do it, you can do it as well. Now I can run long distance because I feel good. I have more energy. And there's another thing that I did, I prayed and said, Lord, help me to change my ways. And God did help me. In May when I came, my tummy was here. Seriously. Hey, Pastor Sione, you saw me, huh? I was like this. Okay, if I can do it, you can do it. If many other people can do it, you can do it as well. By the grace of God, you can change. And that's the message I'd like to leave with you this evening. There's something else that you need to know. Avoid processed meats. Now wait, we're coming to a very important part, very shortly. I'm just saying here, avoid processed meat. If you're going to eat meat, there's nothing wrong. Eat meat if you want to. But make sure that you remove the fat, the visible fat around it. Remove it so that you eat lean meat. That's the safest. Okay, please listen to this because this is crucial. This is important. What else do we have? Avoid alcohol. As we have mentioned, it increases body fats and it can lead to many, many problems. And so this is a good one. Avoid cigarette smoking. All right? It is one of the major risk factors. So let's avoid that one. And maintain a normal weight. So crucial. All right? Come every morning, wake up. You know, as I was driving down, we were driving down from the airport when I arrived. This is 4 days ago. I said to the taxi driver, is it okay for me to jog along this road, you know, to the airport? And he looked at me and he said, no. And I said, man, there must be criminals around here. Must be too many criminals here. See, I run like 5 in the morning. I told the driver and he said, no. And I said, why? Too many dogs. If you want to run, carry a stick. So I would run carrying one stick. Oh, it's going to distract me. No. Maybe government, we change the dogs so that people can run. Eh? People can walk. Okay. Something to think about. Established in 1980s was the World Cancer Research Fund. They study all the researches that are being done in the world. Credible research. And they put together all the findings of this research. And the World Cancer Research Fund is concerned mainly with the prevention of cancer, heart disease, and all the lifestyle diseases. Listen to what they came up with in 2007 as their recommendation to the world. Look at this one. This is amazing. Number 1 recommendation, no smoking. Oh, by the way, this is a recommendation from the World Cancer Research Fund in association with the American Institute of Cancer Research. No smoking, number 1. No level of alcohol is safe. Number 2. Number 3, no drugs. Number 4, eat more plant-based diet, fruits and vegetables. Number 5, be physically active. Number 6, limit your consumption of red meat. Avoid what? Processed meat. This is not Dr. Kuma speaking here. This is not the Seventh-day Adventist Church talking here. This is the World Cancer Research Fund saying, avoid processed meats and be lean as possible. That's the recommendation to the world. Is the world listening? Lifestyle disease comes with many faces, but only a few voices. Think about it. I'm ending. I worked in Papua New Guinea for many years. And one of my jobs was that I go into the plane and I fly with a pilot that you see there, and we do flying doctor program up in the highlands of New Guinea, sometimes over the border into Irian Jaya. And we would treat patients and then come back home, and we would do that every month. One day as we were returning to base, there was a radio call saying to the pilot, land at this particular airstrip. There is a patient with a spear in his chest. You need to pick him up and take him to the hospital. It was getting dark. We landed at this little street that is like an aircraft carrier. Very short. We landed. I ran down to this clinic, and there was this young man of about 24 years old with a spear stuck in his back here, and you could just feel the tip on the right side of his chest. He was gasping for breath. I put up a drip, gave him some antibiotics, resuscitated him. We carried him to the plane, and we took off and went to the hospital that I was working in. This is the airstrip. It doesn't look like an airstrip. Sometimes it's an airstrip that you land here and you go down and you park down there. Sometimes you land here and you park up there. Sometimes you land here, you go down, and then you land and you park there. And so it's an interesting country, Papua New Guinea. But this is the patient. He's on the operating theater. The spear had gone straight into his heart from one side to the other side. And you can appreciate, it's a bit not very clear there, but there's this spear. It's sticking out. And so what I did was I had to find some ways to be able to remove the spear. I didn't have a machine that cut the chest right in the middle, so I had to open up here, find weight enter the heart, and then open up on this side. Weight came out of the heart, and we had to try and remove it from this side, and then remove it from that side. Eventually, we removed it. Oh, it was an interesting experience. But this is John. This is the stick. All right. This is Dr. Kuma when he was a sweet 16-year-old, if you like. Okay. And you can see the spear. You can see the spear there. But this is John. The surgery has been done. The stick has been removed from the heart. He's now alive. The heart has been set free. The heart has been set free. Can I say something here tonight? If you want a change in life so that your heart can work well, accept Jesus tonight. Here's the answer to the problems that you have, your physical heart problem and your spiritual heart problem. I think it is just so crucial that we look to Jesus and see him as the answer to all our problems. I think it is just so important that we realize that. You know, I reckon we all need heart transplants. You know, in the situation of a heart transplant, somebody has to die so that the heart can be available for the receiver. Somebody has to die. There's a lot of people waiting in Australia, in many places, waiting for a heart. But somebody has to die before that heart can be available to be received by the recipient so that he can live. Jesus has died. You can have a new heart. Not next week, but right now, brothers and sisters. Give him your life. He has the power to carry you from intemperance to being temperate in the way you live. He can cure you from whatever problems that you might have. Come to Jesus. There is provision for a new heart tonight. May God bless each one of you.